So I like the tattoo, create. What's that about?
I got passed up for a promotion that should have been mine. Like, I mean, I taught everything there was in that part of my job. Man, everybody at the company was like, okay, well, you know, they was already telling me congrats. And then when I didn't get it, man, it was just like a gut punch. And then so I was just like, just sat down and I was thinking about something my grandfather told me when I dropped my poetry book. He was just like, yo, you got this in you. Don't too many people know about it. Like, 'cause I kind of did that on the slide. And I was just thinking, man, like, create. Like, you have the power within you to create whatever you need, you know. I don't care if you believe in God, Allah, the universe, whatever. It's inside of you to put out there in the universe so you can have what you need to sustain yourself and to help whatever path you want. So this right here reminded me that job, that's not it. I got it. That's not where my source comes from. That's not where, you know, my sustenance comes from.
Welcome back to another great episode of the TheVisionLab podcast in partnership with Next One Creative. I'm your host, Ryan Cuffey, alongside my co-host, Mr. Ryan Mosley. The TheVisionLab is the official growth mindset podcast for all visionaries worldwide, showing mad love to the cigar community. It's here in the lab where we uncover people's visions and dreams and how those dreams actually come into reality. Yo, it's all about tapping into and becoming the absolute best versions of ourselves through self-discovery, self-examination, and self-actualization. Hey, yo, Mo, who we got on the show today?
Cuff, today's guest is a native of Buffalo, New York. He is a chairman of the nonprofit organization Black to Life. He is a co-owner and founder of the CBD company Baba. Please welcome Mike Merriweather to the TheVisionLab podcast.
Appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for having me.
Good to meet you, sir. I've heard a lot about you.
Appreciate y'all, man.
Absolutely.
You know, I'm gonna hinge on the create thing because that's a big deal. You know, here in the lab, I guess before we get started, I want to give a big shout out to Wes Williams. We're here at BurgerIM downtown in the West End, downtown Dallas. You guys make sure you go support him. Outstanding food, absolutely incredible. We'll drop the address here in the link below. We also had him on the show at the end of the year, so end of 2020. But getting to create, and to me, the first thing that I think about is mindset, right? And that's really a core pillar to the show. How important is mindset to you, and really what's your take or your definition on it?
Well, your mindset kind of, it sets the tone. Like, it sets the tone for your day, who you interact with, the people around you, and you know, it's those conversations. What's the people always say, like, you don't want to be the smartest person in the room. You want to have, you know, smarter people around you, people older than you. You can get from all of that. So, just to, you know, share something personal. Recently, I've been going through like a project at work, tough projects out of my wheelhouse, and so the first couple weeks I was waking up anxiety attacks as soon as I wake up in the morning. Just that fear of being in a space that I'm not familiar with. But then you have to think about it, like, okay, let's change this around. Like, my boss put me on here. I'm capable to do this. So that fear kind of went away. And that's, like you said, that mindset, the ability to create, just knowing I had that confidence to whatever I need to make that happen, whatever I need to make sure it's completed, I'll get it done. You know, I got resources that I can rely on. That's another thing. Like, I know people I can fall back on, I can call. You know, if I need to text somebody, like, hey, I got a quick question, I don't need to know it all. So that's one of the things that I like. Speaking of mindset, did I answer your question?
Absolutely. No, it's perfect.
Yeah. So
I mean, that goes back to BP, the very beginning of the very first episode of the show. BP Battles, the owner of the boardroom, said If you look up in the room and you feel like you're the smartest person in the room, get into a different room.
That's right.
Change the room.
Yeah. For sure.
And that's one of the things that growing up I used to joke around with my friends, because I'm the one that younger, I'm always talking about, yo, I'm gonna be a millionaire, I'm gonna be a millionaire. And you know, they used to laugh at me like, yo, why you wanna, you know, when you grow up, because I grew up in Alabama, you know, as I started maturing and stuff. And so some people back there, you got that easy living, I'm gonna just make it. I don't need to reach for anything else outside. And that just comes from time after time, people getting shot down, you seeing people go away, you know, maybe they were supposed to go to the league, something happened, they came back home. And so people like, yo, ain't no reason to go out there, you might as well just stay here, because that's where you're gonna end up anyway, right? Or the people that left, they left and shun where they came from. So no matter if it's the, you know, the country or the hood or whatever, we got those stories. But I always, you know, maybe it's me being birthed from there, from not being birthed from there, or having family, but having family members or whatever. But like I always thought, you know, kind of bigger than where I'm at. And so I noticed at times like, okay, well, I completed this, I completed that. Let me change up my group status a little bit. You know, I don't mean I'm leaving anybody behind, but I know I need to get around a different circle.
Well, it's funny because we talked about this a couple of months ago with Zach Bigley.
Yes.
And it's okay. I think a lot of times people don't want to graduate from their friends, but you got to level up, man. You've got to graduate. Life is about moving forward and progression and
growth.
And growth, 100%.
Painful growth.
Yeah, and
it hurts to grow, but that's where you get. You said all the times where you get your gains at, though.
100%.
Like, you know, if you're in the weight room, like, you know, reps 1 through 5, 1 through 8, you're good. But 9 through 9, 10, 12, and 15, that's where you get better at.
Or can you get back on there and do it again?
Absolutely.
After you're sore, you know, or after you're tired or whatever. And of course, there's thousands of analogies that we can use, and I think everybody really understands it. But one of the things I like to look at is behind the curtain, like when you're in that moment, right? Like, how are you getting through that quote unquote challenging time or tough time? Like, what is your mindset taking you through?
Right now, and I laughed at and told somebody before, like my motivation right now is my kids. Making sure that, you know, my name is A1 out in the street. So if anybody say that's my dad, they know. You know, I don't want anybody coming back talking to them foul about me. So that's first. But then also, just making sure that I'm able to provide for them. So I know that I can't take L's on a regular. Like if I take an L, I got to figure out a way to come back. So I got to be on my game. I got to know what I'm talking about, whatever room I'm in. So whether it's I'm, you know, having a CBD conversation, whether I'm talking nonprofit stuff, because, you know, even if I'm giving back, I'm still a professional. You know, I still have to bring a certain level of class and knowledge to whatever topic we're talking about. I can't tell people, hey, we're out here passing out books. They're like, well, why are you passing out books? Like, the obvious reason is because books are great. But, you know, books offer another level to people that are reading those books. They open up their world. They expand their horizon and their opportunities. Their minds, back to mindset. Like, you read a book, oh, I never thought about, like, this person did XYZ to beat this challenge. Maybe if I run into this situation before, I can pull from in that book. So people having access to books is one of the main reasons for illiteracy. It's not because people don't want to read. They haven't been exposed to it. So us being able to provide that and then saying it to people, because some people, like, you be surprised. We started this nonprofit almost 4 years ago. We started passing out books. They're like, why are you passing out books? Kids can go to the library. Like, it ain't that easy. Like, if mom ain't got a car, or if mom working 2 jobs, or shoot, even if Pops, you know, because now you see it now. Pops is the dude, the single parent for some of these kids out here. You know, if Pops doing X, Y, Z, he ain't got the time to take you to the library in them 2-parent households sometimes. So maybe that library isn't as accessible. So we want to make sure that kids get books in their hands, so they have that access. And now one of our focuses is making sure that they have books that look like them, with those characters that look like them, because that's another issue with literacy. Like, all these books, I think it's like over 80% of the books have 9 characters of color. Right. And so you go back to,
because we're not the ones creating.
Right. And that goes back to understanding the power that you got. So our made a book, created a book from poetry that I did in high school, and then some, other stuff probably about 10, 15 years ago. I was laughing about it because it popped up on my little Facebook feed, the memory. But it was one of those things that I kind of I actually did it and sent it to my parents and then left and went on vacation. And so this is before Wi-Fi was all that, so they couldn't reach me. They got it in the mail, they couldn't reach me. I get back, I got voicemails and text messages like, yo, what's this? When you because that's one of the things that I didn't, share. I did it at school. I might have did it to impress a girl. My homeboy had me write something for Valentine's Day for him or something like that, but it wasn't something that I let people in on. So, yeah.
So I want to switch gears because you guys have had previous conversations.
We have.
And I'm getting to know them for the first time. But before I do that, allow me to say thank you to Edwina Brown and the family at Blow and Smoke Cigar Lounge and the new location in Lancaster. EB, congratulations on the new spot. We love it. Anybody in the southern part of the Metroplex, make sure you get to Blow and Smoke Cigar Lounge. The address, I believe, is 1604 West I-35 East in Lancaster, Texas. Great humidor, great staff. Make sure you get to Blow and Smoke Cigar Lounge. I'm going to completely switch gears because I'm meeting him for the first time.
Okay.
Who is Mike Merriweather?
Oh, man.
You got a lot of layers to you. Like we showed, like Cuff said, hey, we're going to interview this guy. He's on the CBD, and we're going to talk about this. But I'm meeting you for the first time. You've got a lot of different layers to you. So, I know it sounds very generic, but who is Mike Merriweather?
First and foremost, a father. Like, for me, that's my defining thing at this moment. On top of that, creator, philanthropist, and other than that, a businessman. Like, I want to make sure that through my businesses, I'm creating opportunities for other people. Because to me, it like that's what life is for. Like, you want to make sure that you hear and what you leave. You take care of your kids, but the people around you, if you can drop their name in a room and say, hey, like, I know XYZ, he do this. I know this person, they do that, or they're capable. You have a problem, I have a friend that can solve that problem. I want to be able to be that person. So
Mo used to ask this question a lot, and it's very simple, and that is why?
Oh, man.
Like, I get it. You're a noble gentleman, raising your kids, philanthropist, business owner, professional. Got it. Why is all this so important to you?
Okay, so the two tattoos I got on my shoulders is build and destroy. And that's because, in my mind, those are your two choices in life. Your two actions, no matter what you're doing in life. Even if you just standing still, one way you either adding or subtracting to yourself or somewhere else, regardless of how you moving. So I want to make sure that I'm always building. And that way, again, I believe in, karma, whatever you put out is going to come back to you. Yeah, you're going to have some hard times, but when time gets rough, if you've been helping out, putting out all that positive energy, it's going to come back to you.
Have you always been like this? Or was there a maturation and growth process?
It was a growth. Because I wasn't this verbal about my beliefs before. Like I said, growing up, my parents divorced when I was around 12. And my brother actually died. Those are like some traumatic things. So my brother died when I was like 2, at 8 months, heart murmur. I got like 3 memories of my brother. And so I actually started therapy early at like 8, 9 because my parents saw that anger in me. And then when they started going through their divorce, it was like, okay, well, we don't want to be the reason he's just self-destruct.
Right.
Thankfully enough, they were confident enough to put me in therapy. Like, that's not like a black people
Especially
thing.
We don't talk about that.
Yeah.
We don't go to it.
Everything is
We
held
damn
in.
sure don't talk about it.
Yeah, so I thank them for that. But going through that and then moving down south, that was a big change for me at like 11, 12. I'm in a whole different scenario setup.
It's culture change.
Culture shock too, yeah. So again, another thing, it was a economic change for me. Like, we was good in Buffalo. I moved down south, like I'm living with my grandmother, mom doing her thing, but like we ain't
the same living.
Yeah, we ain't got like that anymore.
And it's hot.
Yeah, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, yeah. So
Mosquitoes looking like birds.
the bugs and roaches, all that, man. Like, we grew up, like I grew up in Buffalo, like catching the bus to school at 8, 7 or whatever. Now I'm growing up next to cows and stuff. Like, I can literally hear the cows outside my bedroom. Like that's the change. But like going to college, I think where I really started getting my voice. I can't remember. I think it was like in between my senior and junior year, because I actually I had a semester in the bag when I went to college. So I was one of those people that was a little bit ahead of everyone else. So I had a little bit of time on my hand. I started reading. I think the Soul on Ice was like one of the first books that I read just for pleasure. And that kind of opened me up to realize, like, yo, you do have a voice. There's more to you outside. You can, no matter your circumstance, you know, you can build and you can still give back. And so that kind of propelled me into where I'm at now, man. And thankful enough, like, I've been able to surround myself with good people. Like you said, Wes, like, man, I met Wes through my friend Jelani. He out hooping and working out one day. He's like, yeah, man, we met this cat, black dude, got his own spot in, you know, West. And I'm like, what, for real? Like, I know how Dallas get down, downtown. So I'm like, yeah, we'll pull up. And man, I think we've been,
I mean, that's how we got hooked up.
I mean, we out here talking. I can't remember if my son was with me that time, but I think we.
No, it was just you. But I had come up here for, you know, to do something, and I was leaving.
Yeah.
And Wes was like, "Yo, you need to meet my man Merriweather," and it was like, "All right, cool." And then we vibed out. You know what I'm saying? I love the energy that you had. I love the energy that you spoke with. And so I told Mo, like, look, we gotta get this dude on the show. And you know, let's talk about why we got you on, right? Obviously, you have your hands in a number of different things, which is awesome. Let's go into the CBD realm, right? I don't know how long CBD has been around, but I do know over the last 3 years, it is just blown up.
Yeah.
You know, you obviously have the legalization of marijuana in certain states, but I think a lot of times people are confusing marijuana and CBD.
Yeah.
So why don't you tell our visionaries that are tuning in, and by the way, if you like the content that you've heard thus far, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. It definitely helps out the algorithm so we can get in front of more people. But go ahead and tell the visionaries kind of the difference between you know, CBD and
Delta 9, which is considered marijuana. That's the big thing. Yeah. So inside the cannabis plant, there's over 100 cannabinoids, and THC Delta 9 is what's the bad boy out there, the one that everybody
weed.
Yeah. Like Stephen A. said, yeah. So that's the one that has gotten demonized for years, and we can go into reasons why, like the history behind it's been demonized, but now people are understanding there's medical benefits when it comes to not just Delta 9 but the whole plant as a whole. So what the reason you say, like, you've seen the boom is there was a farm bill passed that basically legalized every other cannabinoid outside of Delta 9, which has caused some issues because there's other cannabinoids that can get you just as high as Delta 9, but because they're not Delta 9, yeah, because they're not Delta 9, people can sell them legally. So you can sell Delta 8, Delta 10, and I think Delta 11 if I'm not mistaken.
Why are they not caught on to it? Like the people who
they
sell?
tried to.
They know.
They tried to.
Okay.
The New York State just banned Delta, all the other THC components of the plant. Texas this past month, and I was scared because, you know, one of my big pushes now is the Delta 8. I didn't want to sell it legally. Like, I can't sell it legally because I still got my 9 to 5, so I'm trying to stay above board. But Delta 8 just passed, was removed from the new bill in Texas where they were trying to open up their compassion law. They actually put it to where the THC is 1% now instead of like 0.5%, but that's still basically CBD. So you got people in Texas that are looking for medical marijuana, that are going through cancer treatments, and their doctors are like telling them you can't, like, you can get the 1%, but anything above that
Can't do it.
Yeah. And for our viewers, define 0.05 versus 1, because to me 1% sounds like it would be more potent.
It's more potent, but normally if you ever read the label of anything that comes from a dispensary, 23% or around 20% is what you'll see as that THC component. and that's what's gonna get you, like, what gets people high. So yeah, so when people say like a 1%, it's THC in there, but that's not doing what that patient needs that relief. Is looking for that relief, you know, because they're going through the chemo and the radiation, whatever, and they're painful. You know, CBD might help. CBD might help, you know, bring some of that appetite back without the, you know, the heavy side effects, but it won't relieve that pain like it would if it was a Delta 9.
So now that we're on the topic of CBD, you're chairman of the foundation called Black to Life, and then you're also the CEO and founder, if you will, of Baba. One, can you tell me what the concept of Baba? Because I'm sure there's something cool behind it. And then I want to backdoor it with what is Black to Life all about?
Okay, so Baba Holistics, it was an idea. We trying to come up with a name. I wanted it to be something that, you know, was close to me, but actually let people know exactly what we're doing. So Baba in certain cultures means father. And so father healing, put them two together. Me, that's what and my business partner Jelani at the time, you know, both of us fathers, that's the most important thing to us. Father's healing. So basically that's where that concept came from. Believe me, it took me to be the creative person that I am. It took me about 6 months to just throw a bunch of things out to some friends, and we finally ended up coming up with that.
No, I love that. That's dope.
So, Black to Life.
So Black to Life, that was something Jelani actually came up with. Because and I'll give you another story about the actual name, because we did it around 4 years ago, and it was around the time, I think it was like 3 police killings back to back that was on TV. And so me and my mind, I already had a nonprofit for my hometown in Leeton, Alabama called Dreams Expounded. And my ex-wife, she was always like, you need to do something for Dallas. I was like, I want to make sure this focus stays on Leeton. Because Leeton, you know, it's a country town. I want them to have something so people
You want their own thing.
Yeah. Ownership.
Right. I want people to understand equity, get the concept of equity. I want these little kids that I'm providing books to understand, like, hey, somebody from my town did this, I can do the same thing. Well, I think the first thing that I started stepping out, the flood in Baton Rouge happened.
Okay.
Can't remember, I got with somebody, sent some books down there, ended up raising money on Facebook. All those killings started happening that one summer, and I was like, man, forget it, I'm gonna do something in Dallas. So I was living in Skillman and Delia at the time. Well, no, I think I had my rental property was over there. First property that I bought, it was in Skillman and Delia. I said, I know that's the spot. That's the spot I want to go to. So we got up with a couple friends, made a post on Facebook. I said, I specifically need black males to show up, and we gonna pass out books at Skillman and Delia. And I had I think 10 people showed up. And we just out there, and people looked at us crazy, like, how much do you want? Like, no, it's free. It's free. Like, we gonna put this, I have my sons out there.
People love free 99.
Yeah. I have my sons out there, they passing out comic books to other kids and stuff. So, we, in the concerts and the course of that day, Jelani and Kenny came to me like, man, we need to do this, like, all over. I'm like, man, y'all crazy. Like, I know what it takes to run a nonprofit in one place. Y'all want to do this because both of them, Kenny is Alpha, Jelani Omega, so they had the connections.
Shout out to the Q.
They had the connections, and so I was like, well, bet if y'all set up everything, I'll support y'all, whatever y'all need. And we actually got ground running. I think 3 months later, that October, we ended up doing 5 cities. And that next spring, we did 10 cities.
Man, y'all on fire.
Yeah, so we had up to past 75,000 books right now. Actually, I want to say, I keep saying nationwide, but worldwide, man. We passed out books in Cuba because of different connections.
Now, are you actually going to those locations?
I didn't go to Haiti. We had a friend who runs a nonprofit in Haiti. We sent her the books, and she got them to Haiti. But I was in Jamaica. I dropped off some books in Jamaica. I used to go to Trinidad all the time for Carnival.
Of course.
Yes. Yes. I'm going back as soon as the world opens up. I'm going back to Trinidad. But we got one of my homeboys from down there. He passed out books 2 summers in collaboration with his nonprofit Golden Spoon. So some friends in Nigeria, we had a big reading day where we wanted people to see black men just actually reading. You didn't have to do it for a long time. You could just take a picture, we just want black men to be reading it, and that was the focal point, because I wanted people. It wasn't for them to see us in a new light. I wanted us to see us in a new light. I wanted black people to see black men doing something in the community other than, past destroying it. Like most time, people talk about positive things black men doing. They might say, "Oh, well, he a coach. He doing athletics. He got the AAU team," and that's
his music. He provide music, a studio time.
Yeah. So I wanted them to see us in the act, because literacy, again, you understand the power of that book. That gives that kid sees you reading, your kids see you reading, it opens up their mind like, okay, well, daddy doing it, or this black man doing it. I got the power to do this.
Let me ask you this, because it's the Vision Lab. When you first started, what was the vision between, and it's two parts, what was the vision for Baba and Black to Life versus where is it now? And what I'm really asking is, has it changed? Yes. And if so, in what ways?
Yeah. So Baba has changed in, I initially wanted to just, like, I knew there was a gap in the knowledge being provided to our community when it came to this, because people hear CBD, they're thinking, okay, well, that's marijuana. Yeah, so I wanted to provide that knowledge. I've been providing the knowledge. Now I've been able to not just provide like to older people, because that's what I was first thinking. But now I've been able to provide it to people like my age. Okay. People coming to me like, hey, like I've heard CBD helps with anxiety. You know, I'm not a doctor. This is not doctor advice. I got to make sure that I make that statement. I'm not a doctor.
The Vision Lab podcast is not a medical, medical certified show. Yes. The opinions of Mike Merriweather are his and his alone, and we do not endorse or condone his opinions when it comes to medical care.
There we go. Yeah. Get that. So I had friends ask me about it, and I was like, well, I've heard the things I've studied, it helps with anxiety. So here, try this out. You know, and so the fact that I've been able to help my friends out, I've been able to help the kids out, because now, after the pandemic, well, during the pandemic, everybody's kids at home, you trying to get work done, you got, you know, your child sitting there, they trying to do their work and focus, and
trying to tear your house up.
Yeah, so people ask me, hey, can I get, do you have something? And I
need to sit this child down.
but okay, they don't want the pharmaceuticals because they know it's going to turn them into a zombie.
So there's a great question or a great point. How is this not a pharmaceutical?
Because it's from a plant. Okay. That's the basic. It's from a plant. It's not in a lab, not cooked up in a lab. It's extracted directly from, so this is the other knowledge concept that I give. So inside that cannabis plant, you have, the female side of it, which is cannabis, and then you have the male side of it, which is the hemp. And so the hemp part is where you derive the CBD from. And so because it's derived from, then now FDA and everybody, they're trying to go crazy and figure out, like, how do we categorize this?
How do we get our hands on the money pot?
They have a patent on THC, if I'm not mistaken. The government has a patent on THC. Why they haven't commercialized it, I don't know yet, but they do have a patent. Like,
they're gonna figure it out. We know how it goes.
Yeah, inside of everybody. This is what. So they did research. Reagan did research in like '89 to figure out. Okay, well this plant is so evil. This plant is so bad. They found everybody has an endocannabinoid system in it. You're not taught that in school. Wonder why, right? But everybody has an endocannabinoid system. So your body reacts positively to that plant when you ingest it. So it depends on which cannabinoid you're taking or how much you're taking of which one, but your body reacts positively towards that plant because that system needs to be balanced. So the runner's high most recently found out that those endorphins that they're talking about, that's really CBD. Your body's creating its own CBD. So that's one of the things. Let me go back to your other question, your vision of Black to Life.
Yes.
Okay. When we first did it, I really was like, okay, well, I'm gonna be hands off, and I'm gonna see how much we can push it to where that, because I know in my first nonprofit, I started it, I had a board, everybody was gun ho the first 2-3 years. By the third or fourth year, I'm funding everything by myself. I was like, I'm not gonna put myself in that position again. So I was like, let's see how my fellas gravitate this. And man, we had a strong board, still have a strong board. Now we got executives helping us out. Like, again, I thought it was just gonna be something. Maybe we had those 5 cities. I think we up to 25 cities nationwide right now. We just did Books in the Hood Juneteenth weekend where we were in Mississippi, here in Dallas, Kentucky, passing out books, just driving around neighborhoods, pulling up. Hey, see some kids outside dropping out books. So it's grown to where now I want to say that second year, a guy from California hit me up. Hey man, I see what you're doing. Talk to me about it. I'm talking to him about it. Before the conversation is over, he sends the money that it would cost to get the 1,000 books to get shipped to California and drove around LA passing out books.
Yo.
So what you're talking about is true support from people you just came in contact with with multiple channels, right? I had to say thank you to the people who support us. That's Crystal and Tim at Class A Vodka.
Yes.
Class in every glass is the slogan. Visionaries, make sure you get your hands on a bottle of Class A Vodka. The slogan again is Class in every glass. The Instagram handle is at Class A Vodka. It's Class A with a K. We stand on it for a reason. They're a part of the show for a reason. Make sure you get your hands on a bottle of Class A Vodka. I'm getting to know you as we go through this interview. You got a lot going on, but you've got this spirit or initiative, or whatever term you like to use, of truly giving back and bringing those along with you. Where does that come from?
Honestly, I'm around the same age as LeBron.
Okay.
So when I was in college, I kept hearing about this cat, right before college, I kept hearing about this cat. Hey,
some dude in high school is the best thing we've never seen before.
ESPN going to do high school game. Like, I ain't never seen ESPN do a high school game, right? So, and I'm watching, I can't say our paths are kind of, but as he's growing, I'm growing. I'm not growing as much as he is, but I'm still growing. But I'm hearing the story like, hey, he got his squad with him. Them people that he was hooping with in high school, he put them in positions of power. Yeah. And it's not like Rich Paul. Rich Paul, everybody want to talk about him. Rich Paul, they tell the story, he found him selling jerseys, but he didn't just say, hey, Rich Paul, I see you selling jerseys, I like your jerseys. No, Rich Paul had to go do some work. Yep. And so along with, bringing some people along, like I'm not just going to bring you along to bring you along because you hear stories all the time of, hey, MC Hammer or whatever.
Right. The difference between bringing somebody along and then recognizing somebody in your circle's got a skill set and we can add him to the pot to make sure this entire thing grows.
Right. So that's one of the things why, like, Jelani and I are so grown at the hip, like attached to the hip. We both going through our day-to-day job. We understand, hey, we need to support. We understand there's not too many black people in the financial regulation position. So let's bounce some ideas off. We have issues. Let's talk about them together. Kenny the same way. He used to work with us. Now he's out doing his own thing. But we all support each other. We working together, starting business together. We working out together throughout the week. Like all that. Like it's fathers.
Iron sharpens iron.
Yeah. So that's to you said. Like I want to make sure that everyone talk about is lonely at the top. And I used to joke around with my friend all the time.
We're trying to get there. Yeah. I'd love to see what that feels like.
I used to talk about my friend all the time. Like I said, I don't want to be the only millionaire out the group. Like, what's it to me? Like, if I go on a vacation and can't bring nobody with y'all can't come with me. Like, or if I'm paying for everything, like, eventually that's gonna drag on me. So let me make sure that we going together. Like, make sure that, okay, hey, what, Mike went and got his MBA. What you gonna do? What's up? You next? What's your certification? So it's about like making sure all of us, like everybody eating good. Like it's not just about just eating. Like we want to make sure we eating good and then our kids are eating good.
For sure. I wanna reverse back to CBD because there's a lot of misnomers. There's a lot of unknowns within that space. Let's start with the acronym itself. What does CBD stand for?
I'll screw it up every time. Cannabidiol. I screw it every time I try to say it. I screw it because it's CBD and then I sell CBG also.
I never even heard of CBG.
Yeah, that's a brand new term. I was like, wait a minute.
It's another cannabinoid that.
So essentially the molecules in the plant.
Basically, yeah.
Okay.
That's it. So the most popular ones, like I said, is this CBD. Other than THC, Delta 9, Delta 8 has become very popular because again it's legal. CBG, CBN is a very popular one. and that was one that they used to think that was Delta 9 because it's so powerful. It'll actually, so I give it to people to help them sleep. If they can't take the regular CBD, I say, hey, like, here, try this CBN out, and let's see how this works for you.
So what happens is they are extracting what from the plant?
Those molecules, those specific molecules from the plant. Yeah, they're extracting it in whatever form they're extracting it and putting it in a way that you can consume it safely. So. And
now, obviously, all of us are pretty close to the same age. We're all fathers of girls. You got 2 boys as well. I think every parent wants to know, is this safe for my kids?
Yes. See, because it doesn't have that psychoactive component. And I want to say because people have started saying don't say that, because it does change you some, but it doesn't cause that like psychosis.
Gotcha.
That Delta 9.
It doesn't take them to a different place.
Yeah, it doesn't take it. So, and that's the thing that you got to get people to understand. Like CBD, you're not gonna feel it. It's what you're not gonna feel.
So how does it work?
So what it is interacting with your CB1 and CB2 receptors. And so again, I told you everybody had.
Hold on, you asked that question,
CB1,
and you
CB2.
opened a door that we didn't even know existed.
Well, we got CBN,
CBG, CBN, CB1, CB2.
Sounds like some television
We have
station.
officially entered into the world of the unknown. Now, this is where we had to like take off our hats and realize like you are the expert now.
I'm not taking my hat off.
Right.
It's CB1, CB2.
So those are the receptors in your body that react to the cannabinoids. And so when you take anything from that plant, it's going to react. CB2 is basically everything from your head down. CB1 is your head up, or basically your head. So that.
So what I was going to go with next is with these. I mean, and I'm sure there's a plethora of ailments that this can help. But can you drop some common ailments that CBD, CBG, all this stuff like that it helps with? That you've been told.
Okay, no, but there's okay. So here's the legal part of that. I can't say it helps. I can say from my friends.
Again, the TheVisionLab podcast does not endorse or condone the
use of CBD.
The use of CBD or the medical advice that Mr. Merriweather is about to dispense here on this show. We are not a medical show.
It's not medical advice either. I'm just telling you anecdotes from the people that I know. Okay. So.
Fair enough.
The things that so let me tell you what I take it for. Because I take 1,000 milligram oil, which basically every dose is about 33 milligrams of CBD.
Okay.
I take that on a daily basis, day and night. And that's one to help me sleep throughout the whole night. Because I had trouble sleeping through the whole night. When you guys know as a creator,
yeah, sometimes you can't sleep.
Can't sleep. You got those ideas.
Yeah, literally. Like, I told this one, I was like, hey, realistically, I probably slept like 2 hours last night. Yeah. I've been up since about 4 o'clock this morning.
Yeah, you get that idea in your head, or you got something and it just won't turn off. Right. So one, it helps me sleep. I got terrible knee pain from thinking I was gonna go to the league and playing basketball all through high school and even in college. So I'm running track. It's still like the workouts that I do. Like it's rough on my body. So I take it for those 2 reasons. Anxiety is for another reason that a lot of people take it, because it helps calm you down. It won't get you high, but it'll calm you down. That's why I say it's not the things that you do feel, it's things that you don't feel when it comes to CBD. CBG is a real popular one for blood pressure. Whatever that cannabinoid does in your body, it reacts positively and it helps people with high blood pressure. CBN, like I said, it helps people actually sleep. And like I said, there's over 100 cannabinoids that people are finally being able to research because of that hemp bill. It allowed, I think Mississippi State is one of the ones that are actually doing a ton of research on the plant as a whole and able to see, okay, what does this actually do to the body and how? That how is what's gonna turn off that fear for a lot of people. Because like you said, if I give my child CBD, do I give them full spectrum or,
Well, yeah, what amount are we going to give the kids? Right. I know what that's just look like later on, but I just can't help because he's so full of goodies and I'm getting to meet him for the first time. Everything you got going on, bro, What's the long-term vision for two-part Mike Merriweather and then Black to Life and Baba? Like, what's the long-term vision of this? You can answer however you want. There's no right or wrong answer. Because like I said, I'm meeting you for the first time, and like you're full of goodies. I'm digging it.
So the long-term vision for myself is to make sure that I have passive income where I can actually retire and do what I want, because time is your most valuable thing. Like, you can make money, you can come up with ways to make money, but that time
Can't get time.
That I ain't making more of.
I ain't gonna be 36 anymore. I just turned 37 last week. That's gone. That's
Happy
gone.
belated.
Thank you. So so I want to be able to get to the point where I can step away from what I have to do on a daily basis and then do what I want to do on a daily basis. So I want to be, and this is one of the big things, and I had a conversation. It was me, Jelani, and Kenny. We were sitting in a room at work one day talking. And, you make it, right? What most people consider you make it, right? But I say, your kid come to you, Dad, I got this great idea. Okay, well, talk to me, son. Tell me about your idea. How much it's gonna cost? Are you in a position to help your son make that, or your daughter happen? And I want to make sure that I'm in a position that if my son says, "Hey, pops, I need 5, I need 100,"
You can be the launching pad.
I can, because that's the stories that you hear.
It's another community.
Absolutely.
Everyone wants to talk about, oh, well, Bezos started this. Well, Bezos' parents dropped paper on them. That wealth, and this is what comes to generational wealth. So that wealth gives you the launching pad to take more risks. When you grow up in poverty, you do what you know. You do what you know is successful.
What it is you get stuck trying to survive versus thriving.
Right.
Because all you're thinking about is like, I just got to get from day to day, versus being, like you said, you got a parent who can say, hey, son, you got this great idea. Here's some seed money, if you will, to get started. That person's thinking like, oh, I got this great idea. I'm not worried about falling. I'm going to be able to thrive if I can just see my way through
But
it.
what he's saying, and I completely agree with you, is when you don't have much, you only do what you know.
Absolutely.
When you have a little bit more, you can do things that you don't know.
You can take those risks. You can invest that money. So everyone talks about
It's runway.
Financial literacy, blah, blah, blah. Like, yes, financial literacy is great. Like, if I know about a 529, if I have the money, I can actually invest in a 529. But don't talk to me about a 529 when I'm working 2 jobs just to make sure that the light's staying on. You can financial literacy down my throat, but it doesn't make sense if I don't have the opportunity to make that happen.
Got to be in a position where I can actually receive it and then actually apply what it is you're giving to me. If I'm not in a position to apply this knowledge you're trying to give me, you should honestly just stop talking, because I'm not in a position to take advantage of it.
So here's a story about my son just graduated. Stacked up some paper for him. When I met my ex, she had 2 boys, and I told them, like, regardless, y'all meet. Regardless of what me and her happened, y'all meet. When London came along, whatever she got, y'all got. So my oldest son just graduated. He doesn't want to go to college. I'm like, cool, what you gonna do with your money? Because I'm not just finna.
You don't cut a check.
No, we're not doing
You need
that.
a plan.
Yeah. So he's like, okay, well, he's like, I want to invest it. And that kind of took me back, because it's like, oh, you've been paying attention. You've been watching. You've been watching. But that's one of the conversations I've had with friends all along. Like, they've been talking about, well, you got to fight. And that's the other thing about knowledge. They had a fear. What if they don't go to college? What am I going to do with this money? Well, now I have the opportunity. I've created the opportunity where he can invest that money in my real estate company and see some gain. So,
Circulate that dollar.
right. So by the time he is ready to grab those funds, it ain't just what I put in there at the time. He's taken what he's learned and grown it. And so now he has a plan of creating residual income, creating passive income for himself. So what I got at 30, he's got at 18. And that's what it's about.
Closing the gap right there.
sir.
That's what it's about. Like, I think Jay said it on 444 one time about, like, he wanted to make sure his kids get in at half the time. And I'm like, okay, well, yeah, let's do that. And on top of that, it's not just about the money. because the money comes and
It's
goes.
freedom and peace of mind. It's freedom and peace of mind.
Right.
Like I said, and it goes back. I can't remember who said it, and it'll come to me as we continue this episode. But he said a lot of times, in our community, we just get stuck in the trap of like we're just trying to survive the next day. We're just trying to survive to the next paycheck. We're just trying to survive to the next meal. Versus other people is like, oh, I've got this great idea. I've got this runway to where I've got the runway to fail.
Yeah.
And so often, a lot of times we're in an environment where we can't afford to fail.
Right.
Fail means I'm sleeping in a car, or fail means somebody's locked up. Fail means I'm not sure where this next meal's coming from. Versus the other side of the fence is fail means, oh, I can always go back and work at Dad's company.
Yeah.
I can always go back and invest in Dad's real estate business or his CBD business. But it's really getting to a place to where you've got the runway to fail, because you and I have learned you're going to learn through failure.
100%.
Like failure is the best teacher.
That's right.
So it's really cool. Like I said, this is the first time I met you, and it's really cool to hear all this stuff.
Yeah, listening to Boykins, I can't remember his first name, but he's one of the people that I started listening to 5 years ago talk about the creation of black wealth and the power. And he said he got to the point where he could hire his daughter. His daughter had a situation at work, and he was like, okay, don't worry about that. Don't stress. I got you. You can work for my company, and I can pay you the salary that they were going to pay you.
I just give you whatever time
Right.
I want to, because I'm in charge.
Right. So that's freedom. That generational wealth that he's been able to create, that creates freedom, and that creates an opportunity for her where she doesn't have to stress. She doesn't have to say, well, oh, I have to get back out there. Oh, I have to change my hair for them in a certain way. I can work for my dad in a professional manner and present myself the way I'm comfortable in presenting myself. So that's what, like you said, what's the end goal of all that? Like, I want to be able to say, hey, I don't have to wake up and do that 9 to 5. I can wake up and make sure that these houses are good. I'm getting income from these houses, whatever. I can donate money to this nonprofit. If I want to go read to a school that day and go sit in front of kids for 4 or 5 hours and just read books all day, I can do that without having to worry about, hey, this project is due, Mike. What you gonna do? If my son needs me on, across here, boom.
You don't have to answer anybody.
Right. So that's the end goal, man.
So a lot of what you're talking about is really having a growth mindset, which we obviously talked about, and we talked about vision. Where did that all kind of come from? Because Mo and I are juiced up just listening to you, because we think the same way. We've got different anchors in the same spaces that you do, right? Obviously, we're not doing books or anything like that, but there's a lot of our books are the podcasts. You know what I mean? But where did all that come from?
My grandfather, on my father's side, and it hit me later in life, because I had to think about it. Like, okay, well, like you said, some of this, where's my motivator? Where's my drivers? And so I would go back to Buffalo when he was still alive and sit there and have conversations with him, and he'd have conversations with me about real estate. Like, hey, Mike, I bought this home for your family, our family 40 years ago. When I passed, when grandma passed, break it down, give it to, your cousins. Your dad got the house right there. I got the lots right next to us. This is ours. This is ours. When these folks come through buying up everything, you sell it to them high.
Or squat on it.
Yeah. So, that's one of the things, and I just listen to him. I used to realize, when I was 5, 6 or whatever, he got an old school Jag. I'm like, okay, that's fresh, that's fly. But he, on the side, he would take and be a chauffeur for people. So,
and the Jags paid for.
Right, Jags paid for. He's creating income for himself, and it's just some of the things that I would draw back on. My uncle in DC, right before I graduated, the semester before I graduated, he took me up to DC. He's like, yo, I'm gonna sit you down. I'm gonna tell you what I know at this time. This is me at 2021. He's like, your job, you about to make more money than you've ever made in your life. And on your path, you're probably gonna make more money than your parents and stuff, the people before you. Jobs got a thing called 401k. Invest in it early. Anytime they want to match something, you make sure you take that match. That's free money. So just listening to him, showed me, hey, this is how you can, hit $1 million in 20 years. You not actually making, you might make more than that, but what you invest in is a lot less than that because of that compound interest.
Yes.
So once I saw that, and every time he would come up with another, way of it, like he'd be a caterer, or he purchased, property somewhere. He's like, oh, Mike, I just sold, this for 100. They try. I built this house, and right before the crash, he had built a house, and I think he said he dropped $225 on it or something like that. He's like, oh yeah, somebody came to me and they want to offer $6 for it. It's like, oh, that's how this works. And so that
what you're really talking about is the importance of transferring knowledge and information to the following generation, and that is so key. I don't care, black, white, Indian, Asian, whatever. Pass down the knowledge, and this whole thing becomes a massive locomotive where you can really start to build generational wealth. And speaking of passing down knowledge and being a part of groups, we got to give a shout out to Dallas League.
Absolutely. The entire squad, Ron, Taz, Sheree, David the Bean Counter, Callie, everybody, the entire squad. Strength, absolutely. Strength in numbers. Support is free is one of their hashtags. If you're looking for whether it's cigars, entertainment, charitable events, whatever it is, give it to folks at Dallas Leaf LLC. The Instagram handle is at Dallas Leaf LLC. The website is DallasLeafLLC.com. Make sure you give it to the good folks at Dallas Leaf LLC. I promise you won't be disappointed. We have come to the part where we land the plane. It is brought to you by the good folks at Grand Brulot Cognac. Thank you again to Francisco, the owner, Jameson, and the Lovers team, the Experience Brokers, everybody who's involved in this partnership. Big things are on the way with the TheVisionLab podcast and Grand Brulot. Go ahead, sir. Do the honors.
Give you a little swig here.
Unlike anything you've ever tasted, we promise.
There we go. Hey, I just want a quick cheers to you, sir.
Yes.
Thank y'all, fellas, man. I appreciate the opportunity, man.
Hey, it's been amazing. Don't shoot it.
Easy.
So you're into books.
Yeah.
I like that.
There it is.
Okay.
You're into books. If Michael Merriweather was a book, what would be the title of your book?
Oh man. Well, the title of the poetry book I wrote is The Maturation of Michael Merriweather.
Okay.
And so I think that's evident. Like every time you see me, I'm growing. I'm trying to provide something new. I'm trying to move in a different way. But that's for me. That's what it's all about. Like we talked about that painful growth earlier. When you mature, some of the stuff you learn, like, hey, I gotta leave this alone. I can't do this all the time. I can't play video games all day. Like I like it. We talked about Assassin's Creed. I can't play this all the time. Like I love the game, and that was one of the things that I had to learn, because I was playing Grand Theft in college. My grades dropped that semester. But that's, you mature. You go through experiences and mature. But it's not just about the things that you leave alone. Sometimes you go through experiences and you feel like, oh, I need to pick this up, or I might need to pay more attention to this. So it's not all about like letting stuff go. A lot of times you picking stuff up. You meeting new people, like you said, creating that circle, that growth circle. So I met him, you might meet a millionaire one day. Next day you're gonna meet, 2 millionaires. And then eventually you met a billionaire. That's how that goes as you continue to grow. So right now I'm hoping with the space that I'm in, I continue to grow in that aspect.
One of the questions we ask everybody on the show is there's a round table, 5 other seats. The only caveat is that you can't have, whatever religious higher power you believe in. Outside of that, dead or alive, who are the 5 people you want at your table?
Who are the 5 people that I want at my table? Scotty Smith, realtor in Dallas.
Okay.
Let's see, LeBron. You said dead or alive?
Dead or alive.
You got a lot more expansive.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did.
Let's see, Booker T.
The wrestler or Booker T. Washington?
Booker T. Washington.
Hey,
You gotta ask.
Gotta
You gotta
ask.
ask.
Gotta ask.
Booker T and W.E.B. Du Bois. I want them both there because I want both of them minds there. So
cool.
that's four.
Yes, sir.
The fifth person, man, that fifth person. Oh, my Aunt Lois.
Okay. Why your Aunt Lois?
I actually had a feeling you were going to go with the family member. I thought it was going to be your grandfather, though.
Yeah, no, my Aunt Lois, because we've had conversations about different things that have grown up. She lives in San Francisco. She teaches. Well, actually, she's retired from teachers right now. Every time I hit her up, I just, Auntie, what island you on? Where you at right now? What ship you on? Because I know you. What? She teaches, wrote a book, worked on Bill Gates' nonprofit. So she's one of the people that, when I started my first nonprofit, I reached out to.
You had somebody in network to call.
Yeah. So every time that I'm reaching a different level, like she's one of the people that I kind of go to kind of ground me, because I know that it's love and it's gonna be sincere. Whatever I get from her is gonna be sincere.
It's authentic and genuine.
Yeah. So
But again, it's a generation above you reaching back and imparting knowledge and wisdom in your life. That's huge, man. You got to have that support. Before we
man, that was a tough question.
we got a couple more. Before we finally land the plane,
Yeah, man.
how can our visionaries get a hold of you, support all of your initiatives, whether it be books, your nonprofit, or your CBD business?
For the CBD business, babaholistics.com.
BABA, right?
BABA, yep. For the nonprofit, blacktolife.org, and that's black, the number 2, LIFE life.org. That website actually is getting updated. We're trying to make sure that we're, fresh and got everything going on. For the books, actually, I don't think we went into too much detail. So I wrote 2 books for my sons. One's called Des the Swimmer, talks about him teaching himself how to swim and what he went through in high school, help his team get to regionals. The other one is Sean's Summer Job. Both of those are available on Amazon. But I created those books, one, to support my nonprofit, support our vision of, creating books with black characters so these kids can see themselves in those books. But 2, those are passive income for my kids. That's their money. And I told them that, so all right, baby girl, she asked me right now, Daddy, where my book? So her book is coming about her, learning sight words. That's important in her life, and that's what I tell people, man. When it comes to, creating these, you got it in you. These are stories. These are real things. It's not something that I'm, fairy tale. This Sean actually got together with his cousins and his brother one day. It's like, hey, I want to do a lemonade stand. My son actually taught himself how to swim and was helping his, helped his team. They switched him out with another kid, an older kid, and they actually won. My son was able to pull his part. It's about her learning her sight words. That's the thing that kids learn.
It don't have to be too far stretched out there.
No,
It could be right in front of you.
These stories are like, and I keep telling my kids that, one, outside of it being passive income, I'm empowering them to understand, like, y'all got stories in y'all got power inside of y'all that's gonna affect other people. Sean, being the hustler that he is, other kids are gonna look at that book and say, oh, let me do a lemonade stand. Desmond, black swimmer, like, that's not common. And that's what I kind of told him when he was going through that. But like that book, people reaching out to me, oh, your son's a swimmer? Like, how? Why? Her learning those words, those are those basic words that these kids want to learn. But again, everybody's not able. Every kid doesn't have that parent asking you, hey, let's just sit down and go over these words real quick. Let's sit down and spell at for me. But it's just that simple. But it's some of the things. Yeah.
We didn't really get into it, but I want to ask this real quickly. I know we're landing the plane, but how easy is it to be self-published?
I'd say it's easy and hard, because you have that in you. You can easily. What I did is sat down one of the days when I was flying, typed it up on my notepad on my phone. But then to actually get it published, okay, well, Amazon, Kindle Direct, they do that very simple for you. But you just got to make sure you reach out to. I had a friend who's Jason of Trill Tunes. He actually creates cartoons out of Florida, South Florida. I saw his painting one day on Facebook, grabbed one of his pictures, and me and him been rocking ever since. He's like, yo, whatever you need, I got you. So when it came to illustrating my kid's book, yo, what's the ticket? Boom, there you go, PayPal, got you. Had a friend who was able to edit it, good web design, edit it, make sure it's good, and boom, we right there. Shalani, one of my business partner, when it came for his time for his book, it was funny because he showed it to me one day. He went to Fiverr, got somebody to put it together. As soon as he showed it, he's like, this ain't the finished copy. I hopped on Facebook, yo, my homeboy, CEO of your favorite nonprofit, Black to Life, got a book coming. He didn't even have a date.
But hey, you need somebody in your corner like that.
Of course.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But yeah, so now he's on his third book. You know, he created a book about him just becoming a father. And this, again, simple stories, him becoming a father. Then he created a story about him becoming a father with his daughter. Like, because it's differences when you got sons and daughters. You react a little bit different to some of the things they do. And then, so now he's just creating a book about how powerful it is to be black. You know, and these are the simple stories that we got in ourselves, and it's out there. Like, these are the things that I try to tell my kids. Like, my son's like, yo, whatever you want to know, that information's in your phone. Like, just Google how to, and you can find it. If not, reach out to me.
We're in the age of information.
Yeah,
for sure. Well, listen, Merriweather, it's been a true treat to have you into the lab. I can't tell you how many nuggets, how much wisdom that you've dropped and imparted on us. Visionaries, I hope that you guys truly enjoyed this episode. It's been a lot of fun. We always ask these final two questions. I know you've seen the podcast and heard it a couple of times. What is Mike Merriweather telling himself from 5 years ago? What advice would you be giving yourself?
Man, focus on the love, man. Focus on the love. I mean, I think I said it earlier, like, the money comes and goes, man, but that, like, learning to operate out of a place and motivate yourself out of a place of love, and from, like, a lot of times for black people, we operate from places of fear. The fear of not having, the fear of not being able to, like, you hear people talk about all the time, well, I couldn't get Jordans, so I'm gonna buy Jordans all the time. You know, that's great, but that don't help add on to what what you're doing. Like, I get it, love, but that $250 that you spending, you can be investing it.
$250. You buy what Jordans you buying for $250?
He getting the retros, the ones he buying the ones off the black market, the ones that the sneakerheads that sell at the show at the shoe.
$350, $400
shows, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, just honestly, like, I'm learning to now I'm learning to motivate myself out of a place, and not just like one out for myself, making sure that I'm healthy, I'm in my right mind, I can, whatever's needed. Whatever's needed for that moment, I'm prepared for it. You know, I think one of my quotes from my uncle is like, luck is what preparation. Yeah. So you got to be prepared when that opportunity comes, right? So learning to make sure that, okay, well, it's not just my kids, because they gonna grow up, they ain't gonna need me. Like, I told baby girl, like, look, 12 years, my plan, I plan to be gone. I plan to at least take 6 months off and go do whatever pops want to do, because I made sure y'all good, all y'all straight. And so I want to be able to say, okay, well, after they graduate, I'm not just focusing on making sure they're good. Like, what else is there? What else do you love to do, Mike? You know, what's your motivation outside of your kids? So I want to make sure that Mike is good, because that happens to us.
And that really,
sacrifice of a parent.
Yeah.
That really goes into my next question, which is our last question of the episode. What advice is the older version of Mike? What advice is he giving you today?
Oh man, enjoy the moment. You get wrapped up in the goals sometimes, and you know that you keep looking at, hey, I want to get to that. Those digits, that extra comma, or whatever. But enjoy that ride. Like I just this past week I went on my first vacation with all my kids in like 5 years, and I had to stop for a second. Like, yo, what the hell have you been doing? Like, I get it, you making sure everybody good, you making sure, you know, divorce happened.
But you've been that deep in it.
But yeah, you've been stuck in it. You creating, yes, you creating. But hey, so I took that time, and from the ride down to the ride back, it took everything in me not to cry, because me and my co-parent are in a great space right now. Like, they gave me Father's Day gift right before we left. They got me a birthday cake while we were there. Like, I'm in the car, just we singing songs together. Like, that don't happen all the time. Like, you don't get that. You know, I got my kids, my goddaughter and my nephew in there. Like, we just enjoying each other, and that right there, that's one of those moments that can prepare me when times get rough, because I'm like, hey, I got a happy moment that I can expect to make it. Let me create that moment again, because I got the money and time to do it.
It's the bank where you go back in those difficult times and you pull that out and you remember, you know, why you're doing it. Well, listen, hey, it's been absolutely outstanding having you in the lab, man. Truly blessed and honored to come into contact with you. Again, shout out to Wes Williams, BurgerIM down here, West End, Dallas.
Thank you, Wes.
Yeah, appreciate you, Wes.
Yeah, again, great food and all that. You guys make sure you guys support him. I love what you're doing, brother. Keep it up. You got people in your corner cheering for you, and you just added 2 more. Remember, visionaries, each one of our guests are dropping nuggets of wisdom here on the Trail of Life. Ultimately, my friends, it's up to you to pick them up.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Ryan Mosley. He is Ryan Cuffey. Thank you again to our guest, Mike Merriweather. We appreciate you, brother.
Thank you.
We'll see y'all next week on another great episode of the VisionLab podcast.
Blessings.